to storage space, which I know is a really serious topic for this phone. The Nexus 4 obviously shipped with 8 gigabyte and 16 gigabyte variants. Google's argument being that with the whole internet becoming a everyday thing now, so people will probably be using the cloud more. Well, definitely not me. I've had this for what, 6, 7 months now, and I haven't even used the cloud, not even once. I would like a 32 gigabyte variant. 16 gigabyte and 8, that's a bit old school. Even iPhone fell out of that a long, long time ago. I think in the next Nexus, I think I'd like to see probably a 16 gigabyte variant as the minimum, then probably a 32 gigabyte, which is decent enough. I'm not asking for 64, that's just over the top, but 32 I think will be good because 16 just didn't do it for me. This is a 16 right here, and you have no idea. I upload like literally like a tenth of my iTunes music library, and it's filled up. So yeah, I really think they should address those issues with the whole storage space and everything. And finally, I'm gonna go into the last thing, which is the operating system itself. Um, okay, Android Jelly Bean, 4.2.2, the best you have from Android, blah blah blah. Yes, it's brilliant, but I don't know, it lacks something, it lacks a little zest, it lacks a little zing, it lacks excitement. For instance, you got the whole iOS 7 thing coming out. Let me not even bring that because it's not out yet. So let me use the iOS 6, the current one that we have now. You get so many more features straight out of the box. You have your whole weather app, it's just more fun. You have your bubbly icons everywhere, you know, and so forth and so forth. And I'm gonna use the Galaxy S4 on this one, because this is something that I want to see the Nexus 5. So it's an improvement. With the whole Galaxy S4, you have these new fun, exciting new camera features. You can do this whole taking many pictures of yourself in the same frame, so it looks like some fancy editing has been done there with like Photoshop or something, and yet it's all been done on your phone. You can do a whole slow motion stuff. You can do really cool stuff with your phone. Now with Android, which is the vanilla Android, there really is no fun. Um, Besides perhaps Photosphere, which is a really cool feature, by the way. That's thumbs up to Android for that. Besides that, nothing is fun here. I feel like when they made this, they simply asked themselves, right, let's think bold, let's think simplistic, and yet functional. And that's what they did. You can see with the clocks, none of that whole fancy graphic stuff. It's all gone. It's just a simple clock. Doesn't even have any fancy animations on it, just a simple clock. And that gets kind of boring. I've had the phone now for 6, 7 months, and it does get kind of boring. I haven't rooted it, I haven't done anything. Out of the box, there's not much you can do with the phone. I mean, you've got your home screens. You've got a limited amount of widgets out of the box, um, and I don't know, it gets kind of boring. Like, for instance, I would like to see a dedicated weather app in in Android 5, perhaps, rumored keyline pie. I like to see a dedicated weather app. I like to see more exciting new ways to exercise functionality of the phone. For instance, maybe a flash, that you can use natively from the phone without having to download an app to do that. There are many things you can think about that they can add to this to just make it a tad bit more exciting. I like to see the camera app have more things that you can do with it. Um, yeah, at the moment, the Android, they've done well in making a really fast, butter smooth operating system, and it is butter smooth, I'll tell you that. But I think they need to now focus more on making it more functional, making it more exciting. For instance, Google Now is brilliant. I'll show you my Google Now right now. I mean, it's showing me the weather, everything. But it would be nice if, that could be integrated into a dedicated weather app, because this just shows you the weather, like of the place that it thinks you are at that particular moment in time. If you want to look for up weather elsewhere, you have to actually look it up, which gets kind of annoying because there is no actual dedicated app. You have to download a third-party app, which is something I don't like doing. If you look at your clock app, they've done this whole new ring style clocks, which at first I really liked, but now I really don't like. Because, right, let me give you an example. If you look at the time of where I am right now, right? Obviously, without looking at the time at the top, top right of the bar, it would take you quite a bit of time to, work that out. Is it 1 p.m.? Is it, 2? It has no it has no indicators. It's just so inaccurate. If you look now, it even gets worse with when you add your own time zones. For instance, in Los Angeles, okay, I can probably guess the time. It's about 5:03. But what is it? Is it 5:03 p.m.? Is it 5:03 a.m.? And what's the date? Obviously, with time zones bringing in their own factor in here, it could be this 15th of July, or it could even be the 16th of July. There's no way it shows us that. And I've seen this on the iOS, on iOS, I've seen a much better clock app. It shows you the different time zones. It shows you the date. It shows you whether it's PM or AM. So I think this just needs a few more touches, because to me, this is tricky. Like, I don't even use this. Let me show you what I do if I want to tell what the time, whether it's PM or AM. I simply use the digital one, which shows me if it's 05, so I know it's AM and everything in the lock screen. But the weather, the clock app itself really doesn't do much for me, to be honest. I have to be honest and frank. I think they really need to, fix up some touches on that. Yeah, and I think that's basically it in the Nexus 5. Besides the performance upgrades, the bigger screens, faster processors, and all, I think they really need to add new features. This is good. I love this. But I think it has to be a bit more exciting, a bit more fun. Like, in terms of color, you just have the grays and the everything, and after some time, I mean, it gets really boring, because that's all there ever is. You can't even make it transparent. You can't, it's just serious, down to the point, bold, and that's about all you ever get. So I think Android just really, Google needs to just, give it a bit more zing, touch of zest, make it a bit more exciting, make it more functional again. A dedicated music player, field up in here where you can play your music directly from here, rather than having to go into, play music, the app drawer and everything. They could perhaps also add a flashlight toggle button up here, because you don't really get a flashlight natively out of the box. You have to download it, which is really annoying, because that's what I'm talking about, functionality. Ways in which you can make, you can add functionality to the phone, make things better, use your flash for your camera as a flashlight, and so forth and so forth. At the moment, this very well is the best that Android is right now, and it's brilliant. I will give you that. It is superb, A star. But now I think it's about that time that Android really sits down and they look at themselves and they say, okay, we have this system. Now let's try to make it a bit more exciting. Let's try to add a bit more functionality. add a bit of this here and that, just make it slightly more zingy and zesty, because right now it's really bold and it's boring. That's simply all it is. It's just boring. The only exciting feature that I can point out at this moment in time in the phone natively when it comes out of the box is a photosphere. Basically, that's basically it. Photosphere, that's like the coolest thing on the phone. Other than that, everything else is just mainstream. You got the calendar, you've got the mail apps, which is basically something that shouldn't ever be fun because every phone has that. But now I think they should really think about that.